Education is very important in order to stand unique as a better personality. So, our next topic for discussion is education. Let me tell you a short story. There were three saints called success, wealth, and education. There was this one wise man who wanted to invite these people home. They all were standing outside, right outside his house. He welcomes them, and the saints say, "You can only call one of us at a time." So he immediately rushes in and has a conversation with his family members. He asks his wife, who says, or who asks him to invite wealth. He comes out and invites wealth. Wealth comes, the saint wealth comes, has his lunch, and then he goes off. The next day, again, these three saints come. Today, the man decides to invite success. He also comes in, finishes his lunch, and then he goes off. The next day, his little daughter said, "Papa, why don't we invite education?" The man came out and he happily invited education. But when education was invited, automatically the saint success and the saint wealth also followed him inside. The man asked him, "What's wrong with you people? I only invited education. Why are you both following him?" And the saint education said, "Success and wealth follows education wherever they go." So now you understand the importance of education. Education brings success in one's life. Education brings wealth in one's life. Education is a progress. It is a continuous, it's a continuous process. It's a learning process. It's a lengthy process. Education it's a progress. You keep learning and you keep improvising yourself every day. Next is education gives us enlightenment. It enlightens oneself. It enlightens our soul. It gives us more insight, deeper insight into approaching things, worldly things, right? So it gives you a lot of enlightenment. It makes people successful. Education leads to success. I think the initial story itself was very clear, right? Success and wealth come along with education. And successful people learn and update themselves. They are never happy with what they have. They never get satisfied when it comes to education. They are people who are constantly on the seek or who keep looking for knowledge to acquire knowledge. Interest. Education leads to interest in subject. When you start learning more and more, you start developing an affinity towards the subject. You will start loving the subject. Current affairs. Education helps us to be updated. It helps us to gain knowledge in current affairs. It helps us to get better exposure to the society and its day-to-day happenings. Keen or curiosity. It makes us keen towards getting knowledge. It gives us a curiosity. When people who are constantly on the seeking knowledge, on the lookout for knowledge, are people who are more curious towards learning things. They are people who are so interested to get to know more things. Let me share with you the famous quote which has been said by our famous scientist Mr. Albert Einstein. He says learning is a lifelong process. It is a lifelong process, or it's a lifelong attempt. It's not any, no, it doesn't, learning doesn't take any particular portion of your life. It's a lifelong process. A person starts learning right from the time of his birth until his death. So it's a lifelong attempt. We don't even call it a process, it's an attempt. We keep trying. It doesn't mean that we always keep learning everything. We attempt, and sometimes we don't get everything, but to an extent, yeah, we do learn things. So learning is a lifelong attempt. Education is the foundation for future. It is the foundational block for future. In order to be better citizens, in order to be well uh, knowledgeable people, you need to have proper education. Education is a continuous process. As I already said, it's a lifelong attempt. It's a continuous process. We don't get stopped. See, generally, successful people never get satisfied with education. They always want to know more. They always want to learn more. For example, there are people who think that, education ends with college or education ends with school life, but that's not the truth. See, getting a first class degree or getting a university gold medal, whatever, all these things are, they all decide only your capability. They all decide only your ability. But real education is what life gives you. The real education is experience. Experience is the real education. Henry Ford says, one should never stop learning. He says, a person who stops learning, even if he's 20 years old or 30 years old, he is already old. Even if a person is 20 or 30, he's already old. And he says a person who keeps reading, a person who keeps learning, even if he's 80, he's still young. Right? So it is very important to educate ourselves. It is very important to give enough attention to education, because education plays a vital role. We need to learn a lot. See, we learn from, apart from our textbooks and school education, college education, life teaches us a lot. The life lessons are all based on experience. Whether it's a success or it is failure, we learn from it. So it is very important to keep ourselves educated. And we need to have a broader mind. We need to have a broader insight. We need to be open-minded towards education. We need to take education from all aspects of life. We should be open-minded to take education from anybody. We cannot underestimate anybody. Anybody can give us a piece of knowledge. So we need to be open to all those things. And educated people never, people who who are looking for proper education, they never hesitate to learn. They always like to learn. They always would like to explore knowledge. And it is very important for a successful person to be well educated. As I said, education doesn't just end in school or college. It is life experience. Life is the best teacher. Nature is the best teacher. It teaches us so many things. We need to utilize it in the right way. We need to learn it in the right way. So it is a continuous progress. It always enlightens us. Not everybody knows everything, but continuous progress, working towards our goal, will help us become educated people, will help us to become enlightened people. Education enlightens us. Successful people are people who never sit back and enjoy their success. They are people who keep learning. They are people who keep updating themselves. They are people who are in the constant lookout for knowledge. You need to have a lot of interest in order to be educated. You need to know about the current affairs. curiosity in each and everybody. Education, people who are educated are already on the look, or always on the look. They're all very curious to learn more. They are curious to know more. It's a lifelong attempt. We keep trying from the time of our birth till our death. Education is not it's not a part of life. That's how the life goes ahead for us. It's a foundation for future. The foundation block for future is education. Without it, it's going to be very difficult for us to work towards our goal. And the world is a fast-paced world. Education is a continuous process. Education is nothing but real life education, real life experience. Real life experience is the actual education, not that which we learn in our classrooms. And as Henry Ford says, a person who stops learning is old, even if he's 20 or 30. But a person who is highly interested in learning, even if he's 80, he's still young at heart and soul.